Here we go. This story is from Relationship Advice and is titled, I, 28 female, think a nap ruined my marriage to 30 male. Maybe. I am 28 female, married to 30 male. I'll probably delete this in the morning, but I need to scream into the void. I've been married for under a year, but with my husband for 6. We have a 3-month-old little girl who's fantastic. I'm a first-time mom who's a stay-at-home mom. My husband works from home. My husband's not dumb, just emotionally inept sometimes. I've had a lot of resentment building since I was pregnant. His mom tormented me through my pregnancy by talking about miscarriages, stillbirths, and saying dead baby to me every time my husband wasn't around. What the fuck? She denied. He sympathized with me, but nothing was truly ever done. I'd be like, wear this microphone, and I'll record that shit. Since I gave birth, my husband has just been clueless. When I was there recovering, he would go home and sleep and leave me all alone because the couch was uncomfortable. I had to call him 20 times to get him to wake up and come back to the hospital because I was lonely. Then when we left, he was asking me to carry things to the car with him. What? The nurse had to tell him I shouldn't be carrying anything because I had just given birth. I was like, well, you were carrying a baby for 9 months, but you just put it down. You aren't carrying anything now. When we got home, he complained about his lack of sleep. I was struggling learning how to nurse. He was my cheerleader through nursing. I have to give him credit there. As the first 2 months went by, I was consistently bawling about how sleep deprived I was while he was getting 8 to 10 hours of uninterrupted sleep every night. It caused a lot of fights because I couldn't hear him tell me he was exhausted without having a meltdown. Then his mom would come over and they'd leave a huge mess for me to clean on more than one occasion. And you know, that bee did it on purpose. He complained about the basement being messy, so I helped him lift things and clean it up. It caused me to start bleeding heavily, and my doctor told me I shouldn't be lifting anything heavy. This is a point of contention because my husband continuously asked me to help him lift heavy things and I couldn't, so he would get annoyed. Then he would complain about it all day.
Oh my gosh.
Now we're at month 3, and I think my marriage is over. We've been distant ever since the baby arrived, and I haven't wanted to have sex or be affectionate. Husband has been asking if I'm all right a lot, and I'd say I'm fine. I don't know what else to say, but I feel miserable and tense up every time he walks into the same room as me. Today, he was on my case about walking our dog. I'm so exhausted from exclusively breastfeeding, and I don't have the energy to walk her. I had been up since 2:30 a.m. with my baby and just couldn't handle anything else on my plate. So he whined and moaned about doing it, but promised me I could nap. I snapped and reminded him that I haven't slept a full 8 hours in months. He got pissy and stormed off. He avoided me the entire day and locked himself in his office. I spent the rest of the day randomly breaking down in full-blown sobs because I was so tired. 11 p.m. hits and he hasn't come out of his office, so I finally broke and went to get him. He gives me the cold shoulder and I just break down. All the lack of support just broke me. I told him I hated him. I wish I could go home, and I even mentioned divorce. He calmed me down and apologized for being selfish. When I asked what he did all day, he said he napped. He napped the whole day. While I was struggling to keep myself standing, he was napping. I broke down. I cried and cried. He was apologetic and showering me in I'm sorry's and I love yous. For the first time ever, I couldn't tell him I loved him too. Now it's 2 a.m. and I can't sleep because I'm so distraught. He's snoring next to me and I just hate him right now. I want to take my baby and run away. I don't want to live here anymore. Being a single mom seems easier than dealing with all of this emotional stress and neglect. What am I supposed to do? I just can't believe I'm ready to leave him all because he took a nap. Well, okay, before we get into the update, let's go ahead and expand on that statement right now. You are not wanting to leave him all because he took a nap, okay? The nap was the straw that broke the camel's back. The nap was the trigger point, the boil over point. The nap was it's not the nap.
No, I think it might have been the 3 months of 8 to 10 hours of uninterrupted sleep where he didn't care at all that you weren't sleeping. The audacity to go into an office and shut yourself in and nap when you know that your partner is running on fumes is the most selfish thing you could do as a parent, in my opinion, because it is so hard those first few months when they don't sleep long periods of time, and sleep deprivation, it takes a toll on your soul. It hurts. And
that's how they make Horcruxes.
And for him to just be like, well, I just napped all day. I had nothing better to do. I couldn't possibly come in there and help you parent. I just had to nap all day.
Yeah, okay. Stop there for a second, because I want to back this up a little bit. We don't get any mention of him doing a damn thing to help parent.
No, just bitching about her not lifting heavy things.
And not going and walking the dog. She said he's emotionally inept. He's not dumb. Girl, I think he might be dumb. There's no way
Right.
that any logic grounded person, this is not emotional intelligence or lack of, this is just lack of intelligence, period.
Yeah, this is like find your brain and use it,
Yeah.
because this is like your family is going to fall apart because you're not lifting a finger to help and do anything, and you're just bitching whenever you don't get what you want. Like that's a really shitty situation
And
to be in 3
I
months.
think we know how he got there and how he's staying here.
His mom.
Because his mom was saying shit like dead baby every time he wasn't around just to try to freak her out. This is not okay.
Yeah.
You ready for update?
Yep.
Update. So we talked. Well, I talked. He listened. I told him I couldn't do this anymore and something needed to change immediately or I was going to go back home and take my baby with me. He stared at me, confused, but then he realized I had 2 bags packed by my dresser and ready to leave. And he's confused at this point. I was finally able to articulate all of the resentment that had been building. His mom's cruel and careless behavior, feeling abandoned at the hospital and now at home. It feels like everything falls onto me so he can bring a paycheck home. I realized after saying all of this, I hadn't really told him how I was feeling, but just continued to bottle it up. He was defensive at first, and I gave him one warning that if this conversation was filled with excuses, I'm walking out. So he stopped and truly listened. He was genuinely remorseful. He only said sorry once at the end, and he meant it. Then he started asking me what I needed him to do. We made a plan, and I finally feel like I can breathe a little easier. He has dog walks handled indefinitely. Mother-in-law is banned from the house and is to have no contact with me or my baby. Once my husband's off work, I'm off duty for the day. I will still breastfeed because I want to do that. I get a lot of fulfillment out of it, and if you saw the way my baby pats my boob when she nurses, you would too. Her big hazel eyes are like a drug. I'm typing this while soaking in a warm bath. I've been promised the weekend to decompress and sleep until my heart's content. I'll pump instead of nurse this weekend, and we have a stash of frozen milk he is planning on using. He knows what needs to be done, her routine, how much to feed her, so I know he's capable. I can actually hear him unloading the dishwasher right now. We are planning on doing something as a couple one day out of each weekend, so I don't just feel like a mom. I can be a person, too. We're going to go to couples counseling, and I'm going to start individual therapy. He's already in therapy. He didn't have a dad who showed him what love looked like. He had an adult toddler as a father who threw tantrums and verbally abused him and his mother. My husband often comments on how my dad drops everything in a nanosecond for me and how he wants to be like that. He said that kind of shit before all this? But he's not. He's failing me and his daughter. That was really tough for him to hear. So now we take it day by day. If he's actually capable of change, I'll have to wait and see. My bags are still packed and by the door. I guess I have them there as a reminder to myself that leaving is an option at any moment I please. That makes me feel a little bit better. I'm hopeful, but not delusional. I know we might not be able to come back from this, and that's okay. I have to take care of myself so my little girl has a mama who smiles at things besides her. I have an appointment scheduled for a PPD screening, and my mom's planning on visiting the start of next month. My family is ready with their door wide open when I choose to come home. It made me cry to hear that my dad tell me he'll be on the first flight when I'm ready so I don't have to fly home alone. Thank you all for letting me spill my guts. There's another update, but before we get into that, let's chat about this update. Here's my fear. Yes, he finally heard her. He finally said he would change these things. He's finally doing things until mama gets a hold of him. And then what?
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't expecting him to hear her out. Like I wasn't expecting him to be as receptive in that conversation as he was. So I feel like that's progress. But like you said, I would need to see continued progress, and continually showing up in our lives to be a part of it and not just letting me do everything and napping.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I get that. And I do think a lot of situations are like she said, he had a father who was an adult toddler who just threw tantrums to get whatever he wanted and berated. And I'm not sure if his mom put up with that, but that's what he had as a role model. And that's also what he had as trauma in his life. And so I think I'm hopeful that they can work through this together. That's where I'm at right now. But
His willingness to ban mother-in-law
yes,
is hopeful.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a big step, but she obviously has control over him to a degree, and he's got to be able to withstand that for this to stick.
I wonder if mother-in-law just made excuses for father-in-law
Possible.
and made it okay for what he was doing. And this is what OP knows. And I think a lot of stuff, that we do comes from within based on what the trauma that we have and
Right.
what that looks like in our life. And we're, like you say, we're all individuals. And so it's all, you never know what
It's all
somebody,
complicated.
yeah, you never know what somebody how their life went and what brought them to this point that they're at and what makes them the flaws that we have, where those come from. So I'm hopeful that he can fix what he's doing to his family right now.
And Dr. Sweets, to your point, said, I think going no contact with mom is a sign that mom doesn't have a very strong hold on him. I hope that's the case. But what she was able to do under his watch before makes me really hesitant to say that he has the power to withstand her. And she's probably really good at manipulating him. All right, we'll start off the update here, which is the last update, I think. Update 6/4/2025. I have been wanting to update, but have been scared. I felt so overwhelmed and haven't been sure what to write. That post I wrote was me at my lowest. I wish I could take that version of me in time and just hug her. I was broken down and I needed someone to be real with me. Those comments felt like a slap in the face and way too much to handle all at once, so I needed time to read through and digest it all. Thank you, everyone. I was diagnosed with postpartum depression and anxiety shortly after I made my post. Thank you to the people who pushed me to talk to my doctor. Thank you. My life has improved tenfold after getting proper treatment. I feel like in normal updates, people dive into their lives and the details of what's happened. I don't want to do that. I want to say something that's more important than me and my life. To the new moms and their loved ones. If you or anyone you know has just had a baby, check in on them. If you just had a baby, make sure you have someone who's tuned in to you. Although you have brought new life into the world and it should be joyous, you are allowed to feel whatever you feel. Please, even if you feel fine, prioritize your mental health and well-being because your baby depends on you to be healthy so they can be healthy. What you are going through is valid and important, and you need someone to look out for you. While you look out for the baby, someone needs to look out for you with the same love and care. As for me, my life has turned around. Taking care of myself was what I needed. I knew people told me to leave my husband and how horrible he is, and like every other excuse post, you don't understand because you're not living it. I'm happy, safe, and healthy, but most importantly, my daughter is thriving. It took a lot of work, and it will continue to take a lot more. I love my husband. He has shown through time that he can be reliable and has not faltered. I really thought he would fail and was expecting it most days, but he hasn't. He actually turned it around, and that feels better than winning the lottery. I guess people can change when they really want to, can't they? I could go on, but things are better. My daughter's happy and healthy. She's feisty like me, and nothing's going to stop her. She loves her daddy as much as I do, sometimes more. And now with a clear head, I can see that things are okay because we have and continue to learn how to communicate with one another. If I could pass anything on, check on your loved ones. Sometimes they don't even know how hard they're struggling until you pull the wool from over their eyes. Thank you to everyone. Posting was the push I needed to get help. Hot damn. There are some relevant comments that I'll read here. Okay, one relevant comment. Commenter asks OP if husband apologized. OP says, yes, he has. He continues to and has acknowledged how his selfishness came at my expense in the most vulnerable time in my life. It's a shame that follows him, and he asks randomly if I really do forgive him. It's uncomfortable to see how awful he feels about what has happened because all I want to say is it's okay. But we both know it's not and never will be. So it's icky knowing he's going to live with that, but I also know it's for the best. Wow.
That was a good update.
That was
made me a little
fantastic,
a little stingy, spicy in the eyes. And what she said to, to loved ones and new moms, like checking on them and making sure that they're okay. Like, I see so many comments that say, like, I never had PPD or I never had issues with when I'm pregnant. And I think those comments, while intended to, I don't know what the they're intending to do, because I think those comments make way for people to criticize moms who have postpartum depression and who have those troubles and who struggle after giving birth. Or struggle with pregnancy. For the moms who are feeling that, to feel less like they can. Yes, exactly. And I think when you say that, like, you minimize the fact that it is hard to bring a life into this world. It is hard to take care of a child when you bring life into this world. And I'm not crying for myself. I'm crying because I'm happy for OP that she recognizes that and she sees that. And I think if the world saw that, it would be things would be different. And I think so when, the next time that you go to criticize someone for having PPD or having struggles with pregnancy, realize that because your journey was different and this person is struggling, like when you say those things, you are opening it up for, and I'm not calling all men out, but you are opening that door for men to criticize us, to criticize moms, criticize women who bring life into this world. And I think that you should know that. And I'm so happy that OP got the help that she needed. And I'm so happy that she figured it out. And I'm so happy that their family is together.
Yeah.
Because I think that's
best case scenario.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, my voice is all cracky. But it is very complicated, and it is very tricky, and it is very mentally hard. And I think that I have a very loving husband and someone who understands me, but
most of the time.
Yeah. I will say that he can never truly understand what it feels like on the other side of that. He can never truly understand what it's like to go through that and, truly understand what it's like to give birth. And we are privileged to be able to experience that. But it's also a burden that we carry because people want to criticize and demean and not understand it. And it just, for a woman to realize it, to see it, and to come out on the other side with her family intact is a win in my book, and a great way to end this life.
And you think about, what happens at that year one. Like, you've got to go through some shit. You got to walk through some fires to figure out how to troubleshoot with your partner and communicate. And then that's how you learn to communicate with your partner. And it sets up the foundation for a successful relationship later on. This was like a year one thing for them. He was oblivious and was just like, I'm doing everything right, until she was able to communicate to him, until she was able to understand it and then communicate it to him. And he really stopped in his tracks and listened. And then they were able to communicate. Until then, it wasn't really real communication. They weren't able to express their feelings. They weren't able to hear each other. They weren't able to have a two-way conversation. And now they can. And that's huge. And yeah, you know what? During the time where you're learning how to do that, which means a lot of shit is going on, it feels like everything's falling apart and you don't know if it's going to make it. But then you gain that skill, then you gain them skills and everything gets better. You know what I mean? You gain the skill of being able to communicate with your partner and things start turning the corner. So, hell of an update.